Yeah, we've been waiting for this for a while, but I don't believe, and I don't subscribe to what Neka said that people were the right people in the portfolios. I felt, and that's why we go back to the argument of please, before you even send them for screening, put the portfolios in front of them so we know what we're dealing with. A clear example is Mr. Dele Alake. I mean, Mr. Dele Alake had been an information buff all his life. Putting him in a ministry like Solid Mineral that needs a lot of understanding, I think that's a big miss, honestly. Nigeria needs to make a lot of revenue from Solid Mineral. Nigeria has so much money hanging in the balance and being frittered away and taken by people that come to mine our minerals illegally here. We need somebody with an understanding that can harmonize the solid mineral sector and take us back to the glory days. We all know how cities evolved around solid minerals in this country. Cities like Jos, the tin and columbite industry. So putting Mr. Dele Alake, that is an information specialist, I mean, I would have thought Minister of Information would have been suited for Mr. Dele Alake, solid minerals. Then that beggars belief. Mr. Bosu Tijani, yes, spot on. Bosu Tijani has done a lot with CC Hub and he's done a lot as regards developing the tech sector in Nigeria. Most of the tech companies doing well has at some point passed through the CC Hub and he's got very great international partnerships. So now we can pretty much use him as a source to partner with other international tech firms, the likes of Google, Microsoft, and all of that, to bring more investment in the tech sector. And that Ministry of Tech and Innovation for me is one I'm really excited about, the digital economy. Because if we harness it properly, we can get a lot of forex in terms of receipts there. I've always favored the service sector in Nigeria as a means of bringing in foreign exchange revenue and start to ease off this over-dependence on petrol to be our major foreign exchange earner. It happens in other countries of the world. I mean, we're taking reports from business reports here talking about tech companies having over $160 billion in cash. So if we develop companies like that, and if Bosu gets this up and running, maybe a couple of years down the line, it can start to tilt things. Mr. Wale Edun has a lot of work on his hands. Yes, another very good pick for Coordinating Ministry of the Economy, investment banker, has his antecedents in the banking sector, understands finance, should be able to do a lot of work as regards revamping that sector, and he needs to get to work quickly. And that's why I'm a little taken aback when we are saying that when is the ministerial retreat going to start? It should have started ASAP, because we need people like Mr. Wale to get up and running and look at how we are even going to harmonize the deployment of that $3 billion now we've gone to take finally, pegged against our crude oil with the NNPC, and which I think there should also be a review of all these crude contracts by the NNPC to be able to buffer our currency. Another person, Betta do humanitarian ministry. If Betta does well, we'll support her. But she must also be very careful in that ministry. Because we know the antecedents of that ministry. A lot of palliatives were given in the last administration. We couldn't account for it. We saw the days of how they were sharing monies during COVID. And those monies could not be accounted for. So it's a very important ministry and we must get it right because she will be in the vanguard of all these palliatives. And if she does well, we'll support her. But if she doesn't do well, we'll call her out. The quest in the aviation sector has constantly been about how we can make Nigeria an industrial hub. Aviation hub. We want to be like Ethiopia. We want to expand. But we know what happened with Addis Sirika in the last administration and all of that. So if we look at all of this deeply, the question is, Mr. Festus Keyamo a good fit for that? I know some people will argue that even the Addis Sirika we put in the last time that was an airline captain at some point, it didn't make any difference. So let's give him a benefit of doubt. But his goal should be cut out for him. The state of our airports, the state of the aviation sector, how to grow aviation internally in the country, and many other ministries like the blue economy and other additions like that. But the most important thing is these people are largely in an administrative role. And it's incumbent on them to get to work to be able to, one, help restructure this economy we've been talking about. Because yes, we can take loans all we want, but if we don't restructure the economy to make it a productive economy where it can earn revenue and stand for itself, it won't move any further. And that's why kudos to the government on the tax policy, the tax review it's doing now, and how quickly we can do that makes a whole lot of sense for us so industries can get tax reprieve, and then we also provide power, which in all honesty, El-Rufai would have been a fantastic power minister if he finally took the position. So a lot hangs in the balance, but we wish them well. They'll be sworn in on Monday. Go out there, fight for Nigerian ministers. If you do well, we'll praise you. But if you don't do well, we'll speak also.
Right.
Well, 9 days after 45 ministers were approved as ministerial nominees, President Tinubu finally provides the portfolios. And the argument subsists. We've always said, let us know the portfolios so that the screening process can be more robust, can be more rigorous, rather than a situation whereby they just give people a slap on the back and it looks like a circus that happened. So we will still have to return to that argument later, because it looks like, the present administration just ignored that. Now, if you look at the portfolios that have now been assigned, a number of patterns. Number one pattern, it will appear that quite a number of them are round pegs in round holes. Mohammed Idris, who has been made the Minister of Information, that's the publisher of a blueprint. He too has been in the communications business, for a very long time, so he knows the territory as a publisher, as somebody who is a member of the Newspaper Proprietors Association of Nigeria, and who is actively involved in that territory. Uju Kennedy, who's been made Women Affairs Minister, you remember she was the female presidential aspirant who stepped down. Then, of course, Wale Edun, finance expert, coordinating minister of the economy. Right, it's a good fit in that respect. And then, of course, Bumetunji Ojo, who has been made, interestingly, Minister of Marine and Blue Economy. That's a new ministry. And one of the features of this new list is that some new ministries have been created. And Marine and Blue Economy is quite interesting. It's about sustainable use of ocean resources. Nigeria has about 420 nautical miles in the Gulf of Guinea. And, exclusive economic zones covering about 200 nautical miles. So there's a lot to be done there. It's a new ministry, and it will be interesting to see how Nigeria harnesses its, ocean resources in a sustainable manner. Tahir Mamman, Professor Tahir Mamman, former Director General of the Nigerian Law School, is the Minister of Education. So it's also a good fit. Lateef Fagbemi is Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice. Nobody can question Lateef Fagbemi SAN's credentials. The only thing that I would have expected would have been the Tinubu administration to take the initiative, as we have always suggested, to separate the office of the Attorney General of the Federation from the office of the Minister of Justice. The Minister of Justice is a politician. He's an appointee of the President. The Attorney General of the Federation, whose position is duly recognized in the Constitution, is the Chief Law Officer of the Federation. What we have seen in more recent times is, a conflation of these two roles, how to be Chief Law Officer and at the same time be lawyer to the party. But Tinubu has not done that. Another thing that I see in that list, apart from Ministry of Blue Economy and Ocean Resources, there's also the Ministry of Environment and Ecological Management. We've always had Ministry of the Environment, but the title has been changed to be, Environment and Ecological Environment. And then Science and Technology is now Innovation, Science and Technology. Anatu Musawa is Minister of Arts, Culture, and Creative Economy. So they took that a little bit, they added creative economy to it. But creative economy covers the entire scope. Festus Keyamo has been named Aviation and Aerospace Development. It used to be aviation, but now aerospace development has been added to it. So you see an attempt to, change things a bit, but there have been complaints about Minister of Defense, Muhammad Badaro, former governor of Jigawa State, right? And the question is, does he have any military experience? Will he be able to work with the service chiefs? Because the tendency is for the military to look down on people who don't have their kind of background because they see you as somebody who doesn't know the territory. But maybe, former Governor Muhammad Badaru, we have some other things that he can bring to the table. Ministry of Petroleum Resources. We're told that President Tinubu is holding that ministry after the pattern of President Buhari. Well, there's a lot to be done in that Ministry of Petroleum Resources. Although he has Aiken Lokubiri, Senator Aiken Lokubiri from Bayelsa State as Minister of State. But what the president is saying that when it comes to petroleum resources, the buck stops at his desk. And he's going to be held seriously accountable for that, okay? Because there are issues, crude oil theft, increasing oil production, so many challenges in that sector, right? So is the president prepared to do it? My other concern in that regard is that is the president not taking on too much? He's chairman of the ECOWAS Heads of Authority and States, okay, heads of government and states. He's president of Nigeria. Now he's also Minister of Petroleum Resources. That's quite a heavy load and a lot of hard work. But it remains to be seen what difference that he will be able to make. Well, on the whole, job for the boys. Some of the boys, some of his supporters have been given portfolios. Governor Wike, former Governor Wike, Nyesom Wike, is Minister of the Federal Capital Territory. That's a very important assignment, and people would like to see what he does with that portfolio. And then some of the other governors have been given these police affairs, that one. Those ones look like a job for the boys. I share the view, however, that Mr. Adele Alake's portfolio seems to be the very surprising one. Solid minerals development. Solid minerals development is a major challenge in this country, and it's a very serious assignment. But maybe the president says, well, Adele Alake is my trusted person. If I put him there, he will be able to do some magic. After all, what political appointees do is to manage the process. I would have preferred a man like former governor of Osun State, Adegboyega Oyetola, as Minister of Solid Minerals Development, in the light of what he did in Osun State. Give him the credit. When he was governor of Osun State, he developed mineral resources, provided opportunities for mining and, solid minerals development in that state. So he has concrete knowledge in that regard. But you see, the president has the prerogative to choose who he wishes. Adebayo Adelabu had worked with CBN, so he's in power. Well, again, he has good experience. He's well, he's well exposed. But on the whole, Nigerians will expect that these new ministers will hit the ground running after they are swearing in on Monday. There may be a knowledge deficit in some areas, but they have to learn quickly and learn to work with the bureaucracy, the existing bureaucracy, But on the whole, 45 ministers, 3 more pending, Okotete, Danladi Abubakar, and where Nasir Rufai had already withdrawn himself from the process. It's still a big cabinet. And I hope that, President Tinubu will have a way, will find a way of cutting fat and waste and leakages. And these persons who have been so appointed, congratulations to all of them. If you look at their profile, by now their families must be jubilating and they must be preparing to storm Abuja on Monday. But the bigger thing is service, not being, in the corridors of power.